Hey everyone, my name is Ramazan. I recently took a course at Harvard's Graduate School of Education that honestly completely changed how I think about school leadership. It was just filled with these incredible insights, and today I really want to walk you through the biggest lessons I took away from that journey.
In this quote right here, this was probably the single most powerful idea from the whole course. It's this simple but actually really deep concept that you don't have to pick one or the other. You don't have to choose between high academic standards and a really supportive, caring culture. What I learned is that the best schools, the truly excellent ones, find a way to weave them both together. So, here's how we're going to break this down. I've kind of boiled it down to 5 main ideas that really stuck with me. We'll start with that big insight that really framed everything. Then we'll dig into how culture and caring are actually built through systems. After that, we'll look at a practical cycle for getting better. And then I'll share my final reflection on it all. These were the real aha moments for me.
Okay, so to make all of this real, the course was anchored in an amazing real-world case study. We spent our time focused on Principal Jody-Anne Jones and the incredible work she did at North Star Clinton Hill Middle School, which is a charter school down in Newark, New Jersey. Seeing her leadership in action is what really made all these concepts come to life.
You know, the professors, especially John Kim and Richard Weisbord, they just kept hammering this point home. They really challenged this false choice that I think a lot of us in education feel, that you either have to be all about rigor or you have to be all about care. And their whole point was no, that's not it at all. The real genius of leadership is in building the systems that make it possible for rigor and care to feed off of each other. So that brings us to the first big lesson, and this was a game changer for me. For the longest time, I kind of thought of school culture as, the mission statement you hang on the wall. But what I learned is that culture isn't what you say, it's an output. It's the direct result of all your daily actions and systems. John Kim really drove this home. You can't just talk a great culture into existence. If you really want to change the culture, you have to get your hands dirty and change the underlying routines, the systems, the behaviors that actually create it. Culture is, quite simply, the way things are done around here. That's it. So, what was the problem Principal Jones was facing at Clinton Hill? In a word, inconsistency. She realized that a student's day was like a roll of the dice. Imagine this. In one classroom, the teacher is using cold calling. Every student is on their toes, totally engaged. Then the bell rings, they walk next door, and that teacher only calls on the kids with their hands up. Suddenly, it's easy to check out. Students were getting these totally mixed signals all day long. And then they showed us this tool, the agreement matrix, and for me, it all just clicked. See, the staff at Clinton Hill was already in that top right box. They had high agreement on what they were trying to do and how they wanted to do it. So this meant Principal Jones didn't need to give some big visionary speech. Her job was all about management and culture, using tools and systems to make sure everyone was actually executing on the vision they already believed in. It was all about consistency. Now, this idea of using systems doesn't just apply to academics. It applies to the other side of the coin too, caring. I learned that you can't just hope a caring culture magically appears. You can't just wish it into existence. You have to be just as intentional and build it, system by system. This quote from Principal Jones just really stuck with me. It's such a powerful reminder that strong, trusting relationships are the bedrock. They have to be non-negotiable. Everything else you want to do gets built on top of that foundation. It's not just a job, right? It's a mission. So how do you actually systemize caring? Well, what I learned is that it's all about the little things, done over and over and over again. It's things like the principal standing at the door to greet every single teacher, and teachers standing at their doors to greet every single student. These little actions, when everyone does them every day, add up to create this powerful feeling that here I am seen and here I belong. Richard Weisbord also introduced us to this really cool idea called the circle of concern. Think about it. We all have this group of people we naturally care about, usually people who are like us. The real work, the hard work, is to intentionally stretch that circle to include people who are different. And systems like Clinton Hill's Community Circle, where kids talk about tough issues from different viewpoints, that's how you do it. You're building the empathy muscle. Okay, so once you've got that strong culture humming, then you're ready to really dig into the tough academic challenges. And this is where I saw just how powerful a simple, structured process for improvement can be.
Jody-Anne Jones decided her first big push was going to be on improving student-to-student conversations. And why? Well, get this. Research shows that in most classrooms, the teacher is talking a whopping 70 to 80% of the time. I mean, think about that. That's a huge opportunity just sitting right there. Getting kids to talk more and more deeply is one of the biggest levers you can pull to improve learning.
So how did they tackle it? They used this beautifully simple but incredibly powerful framework, the plan, do, check, act cycle. It's a loop, see? First you plan. They watched classes and made a rubric for what good student talk looks like. Then you do. They rolled out training for teachers. Then you check. They watched videos of classes to see what was working. And finally, you act. They tweaked their approach based on what they learned. And then you just do it all over again. It never stops. And what's so amazing is that they didn't just stop there. So they got the kids talking, which was awesome, but then they looked at their writing data and had another one of those aha moments. They saw that while students could say their ideas really well, they were struggling to get them down on paper with strong analysis. So what did they do? That became their next big challenge, and they fired up a whole new improvement cycle.
And here is the payoff. I mean, come on, just look at these results. An 80% proficiency rate in English language arts. They didn't just beat the district and state averages, they blew them out of the water. This is what's possible. This is what happens when you systematically build a culture of both care and high expectations.
All right, so let's tie this all together. This brings me to my final and, for me, most important reflection. It's the one big idea that just crystallizes everything I learned from this whole experience. I see it so clearly now. These two things, academic excellence and a culture of care, they're not fighting for your attention. They're not competing priorities. They're actually two sides of the same coin. Think about it. When students feel safe and seen and valued, they're willing to take the academic risks necessary for deep learning. And at the same time, holding students to high standards is one of the deepest ways we can show them that we truly care about their future. So I guess I'll just leave you with this thought. The question for all of us isn't if we should pursue both of these things. Of course we should. The real challenge, the tough but important work, is how. How can we in our own schools and our own classrooms build the systems, the routines, the daily habits that make both excellence and caring not just possible, but inevitable? That, for me, is the true work of leadership.